welcome back to my channel. My name is Cheryl, and today I'm here to bring you one of the many promised Unhaul videos. If you're new here, then you wouldn't know, but I have recently said that I am going to be doing a lot of Unhaul videos in the coming months because I am trying to read down my TBR as opposed to buy new books or read them from the library, and in this process I am finding that there are a lot of books that I bought forever ago that I'm just not really enjoying anymore, or I'm not enjoying them the way that I probably would have if I had read them, when I bought them like 4 years ago. I'm also finding that as I'm buying new books that I am enjoying and want to keep, that I'm running out of room on my shelves, and so I'm trying to kind of get rid of books that I don't think I'll ever reread or I just thought were average. So yeah, that is the general reason why I'm going to have a lot of unhauls coming up soon, like the one today. So without further ado, let's just get into the books. So book number 1 is Wizard's First Rule by Terry Goodkind. I have a review for this, and any books that I have reviews for, I will link those down below. And I enjoyed this book. It was alright. The general synopsis of this book is like many fantasy books in which there is just a man named Richard who's living his life out as a forest guide, and then he learns that he is the chosen one, and it involves dragons and magic and quests and adventure and basically the general formula for most high fantasy books. It was alright. I had some issues with it, and I actually have a floppy paperback edition of this book that I will probably be keeping just because I do have some nostalgia surrounding the series because I read it in high school, or at least the first few books in high school, but I didn't feel like keeping both copies, and rereading it for the first time in forever, I found out that I just didn't enjoy it the second time around quite as much as I thought I was going to, so there's really no point in me keeping 2 copies. The next book I'm unhauling is Dragons of Autumn Twilight by Margaret Wise and Tracy Hickman, and if you watched my book haul recently, you're probably thinking, what the hell, Cheryl? You just hauled the next 2 in this series, and now you're unhauling the first one, and yeah. If you've seen my review for this, you know that I enjoyed it, but not nearly enough to keep it, especially because I'm trying to only keep the books that I really, really loved. The general plot or synopsis of this book is that it is basically like a Dungeons and Dragons campaign. There is a group of very different characters who all have very different personalities. They're all from different races and species and things like that, and so they all kind of get together and they go on this major quest, and a lot of fantastical elements ensue. It was alright. There was a lot of sexism in the book, and I don't know if that comes from the fact that it was like from the 80s or what, but I did have some issues with that being the biggest one. I do want to continue the series, which is why I bought the other 2, but I just don't have any real desire to keep this one. So book number 3 is Outlander by Diana Gabaldon, and this might be considered controversial. I don't know after recent events, but if you don't know, this book basically is an adult, I guess you would consider romance, I don't know, novel where a woman goes to Scotland with her husband to kind of rekindle their relationship. Both of them served in the war, him as a soldier and her as a nurse, and they never really got to go on a honeymoon, and so they're just kind of like getting back together, and they're just kind of trying to rekindle, the flame and whatnot. Of course, she touches a rock while she's there, and she's transported back in time to the 1800s in Scotland, and a lot of events ensue, basically. I never did a full review of this book on my channel. I kind of regret that because I do have a lot of thoughts about him. Specifically with her use of rape as a plot device, I was very uncomfortable with when I read this book. And I have the sequel, A Dragonfly in Ember. I don't know if I'll pick it up because, once again, so much rape was used in the book. As of right now, I have no desire to pick up the next one, especially because this book was like 800 pages long, and I know the sequel's fairly long too, and I just don't have any real desire to pick it up right now. So the main reason that I'm unhauling this book is just because it wasn't as good as I expected it to be, so I just have no real desire to keep it. So completely veering off the genre of like fantasy or whatnot, the next book is going to be Food Inc. it's edited by Carl Weber. This book is also a documentary that I believe is on Netflix, which I have seen, and I've read this book a couple times. It's tabbed because I used it in one of my papers for school. The only reason that I am unhauling this is because I've run out of room on my blue colored shelf. I do rainbow coordination for my shelves, and I ran out of space on that shelf, and so basically what I do when I run out of space is I look to see if there's a book on that shelf that I'm okay with unhauling, and this got the cut. This basically is just an in-depth look at the food industry, which is something I've not talked about before on my channel, but it is a topic I am quite passionate about. I used to be a vegetarian. I was one for about 5 years, but I am no longer one for my own personal reasons. But overall, I really did enjoy this book. However, I don't really feel any reason to keep it because I have read it a couple times already. The next book I'm going to talk about is being really unhauled for the same reason as Fooding, and that is just I ran out of room on that particular shelf and was looking for books to unhaul. This one is Yes Man by Danny Wallace. So this is a nonfiction book that details Danny's life after he decides that he wants to become the yes man, which is he wants to basically say yes to any opportunity that presents itself. And this book is just, if I remember correctly, because it's been forever since I read it, was just absolutely hilarious. I actually saw the movie first before I picked up the book, which they are very, very different from each other. So like I said, I really did enjoy this book, but just I've owned it for years and have never picked it up again, so there's really no point in keeping it. So the next book I'm unhauling is one I'm actually a little sad about, and that is Sarah Dessen's Lock and Key. You can see I wasn't even bothered to take the sticker off. I basically picked this up not too long ago, and I started reading it. I got maybe 50 pages in, and just nothing. I decided to DNF it because it just really wasn't gripping me, and after 50 pages, if I don't find myself invested in a story at all, I will typically put it down because life's too short to read books you're not interested in, basically. And that made me kind of sad because I've heard such good things about Sarah Dessen's books, but this just didn't do it for me. So have you guys read any of her books? If so, leave me a comment down below which ones you've read and whether or not I just picked up maybe not her best one, and if there's ones you do recommend. I'm not really into contemporary, which is why I think I didn't quite enjoy this one as much, but yeah. And the last book I'm going to talk about today is one I just read, and I will hopefully have posted the review by the time this video goes up, and that is Me and Earl and the Dying Girl by Jessie Andrews. I had a lot of mixed feelings about this book, and I just really don't have any desire to keep it, honestly. Basically, this is told from the perspective of a high schooler named Greg, who basically makes shitty films, home films, with his friend Earl, and then he befriends the dying girl. Like I said, I'll have a spoiler-free review of this one up so you can really see more of my thoughts there, but just overall, didn't really feel like this book was important or impactful enough for me to keep it. So anyway, that's my most recent unhaul video. Like I said, there will probably be more of these coming because I am in the place where I'm okay with getting rid of books, which is really weird because I used to hoard them. But anyway, have you read any of these books? Let me know down below, and whether or not you think I'm crazy for getting rid of them. As always, thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!